is asking Ghana and other West African countries to demand a renegotiation of the economic partnership agreement with the European Union. This is because the decision by one of the biggest markets, Britain, to exit the Union will be a disadvantage to countries that have already signed the pact. He said this in an interview with Joy Business on the sidelines of a roundtable discussion on future of the cooperation between the EU and Africa.
We must set up a framework which takes account of this unevenness so that all African countries in the long term are beneficiaries. This is a problem in how the CFTA has been designed. One of the reasons why we have this problem is that the CFTA has taken the trade concessions that Africa has made to other countries as its starting point. Let's take the EPA, the Economic Partnership Agreement. Under the EPAs, African countries have decided to liberalize 80% of their markets for European goods, which means that if we want intra-African trade to be beneficial to us, we should give each other even more liberalization than we're giving to the Europeans. So this has led to a very radical and very fast agenda of liberalization. But that may not necessarily be the way, because in fact, those of us who criticize the concessions we made to Europe and the US and so on, we argue that for African trade integration to work, it provides for us to wait a minute. If it's going to work, we must go back and ask questions of the mistakes that we made in our relations with Europe. So Europe, for example, at the time that the EPA concessions were made, Britain was part of Europe. Brexit means Europe has left. For many countries, Britain is the biggest market. If they are no longer part of the European Union, then it's a major dislocation of the understanding. It provides an occasion for us to go back and say, let's renegotiate this CPA. So the foundations of the CFTA, in terms of the trade regime, is problem.
Moving on, the General Manager of La Community Rural Bank, Peter Tehova, says the replacement of Universal Bank's base rate with the Ghana reference rate will have a corresponding drop in their lending rates because of a pull effect. However, he says they would have to await for an advice from the Apex Bank, which regulates rural and community banks, for a new formula to calculate their lending rates. Mr. Tehova was of the view that the current interest rate regime is causing a mismatch between budgeted revenue and actual revenue of the bank. He was speaking in an interview at a ceremony where La Community Bank presented scholarships to needy but brilliant students of the area.
Banks also have their own association, and for now we have not yet heard from that association, who are regulated by the Apex Bank of Ghana. So we are yet to be apprised with whether that reference rate will apply to the Association of Rural and Community Banks as well. But for now, it's only for the universal banks who used to have the base rate system of lending. They are to replace the base rate with the Ghana reference rate for now. The pull effect will force us to come down, but as to the modalities and how it will be called, what kind of formula to adopt, we are yet to be advised by the Apex Bank. The challenges we face currently is in terms of the interest rate regime, because all the rates are falling. Our lending rates are supposed to fall, but we have had a budget which took into account the old rates. So there's going to be a mismatch between budgeted revenue and then actual revenue because of the attempt to force down interest rates.
And that's it for business. I'll come your way again shortly on the marketplace. My name is Emmanuel Apoachi. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.